Welcome from Cycling Ireland. My name is Roisin Hickey and I'm a Cycling Ireland coach. Today we're going to go through an obstacle course setup. A cycling obstacle course will develop a cyclist's fundamental cycling skills: balance, braking, cornering and pedalling. Cycling obstacle courses can be fun. You can be as creative as you like. You can use any bike and you can be any ability or age, and you can cycle around, have fun and mess around with your friends. Before setting up your cycling obstacle course, you will need to look at the space available. Ensure it is suitable and complete a risk assessment for the stations you will be using. Keep in mind the different surfaces from grass, tarmac, astro and gravel. For equipment, use what you have available, including any markings on the ground. One piece of equipment can be adapted and used in many different ways. By keeping equipment to a minimum, it will save time on setting up the cycling obstacle course. Before cyclists take to the obstacle course, ensure helmets are fitted correctly, clothing is checked and bike safety check is complete. Now it's time to enjoy the cycling obstacle course. The aim of the slalom is to bike through corners and generate speed through turning skills. Set up the slalom where the cones are evenly spread apart in one line. The wider apart the cones are from each other makes it easier, and the closer together makes it more difficult. A good starting point is 2 meters apart. Change the distance to suit the ability of the cyclist. You can also stagger the cones for the cyclist to challenge their turning skills, starting with the cones closer together and gradually moving every second cone out. Another progression on the skills is to set the slalom on a hill. Equipment you can use is chalk, drawn circles, bottles, beanbags and cones. Straight line control enables cyclists to improve balance, movement, coordination and concentration while understanding their body's centre of gravity. You can set this up using chalk drawn in a straight line, cones laid out parallel beside each other, or using a plank of wood in different lengths. 3 foot, 6 foot, 9 foot, etc. are often used by coaches. Dismount run mount enables cyclists to get comfortable and confident getting on and off the bike. We encourage cyclists to get off and on the left-hand side, as in Ireland, the footpath will always be on the left-hand side. It's a good habit to get into. This obstacle will also help develop the cyclist braking to know when to stop. When cyclists dismount, they will walk, jog or run with their bike to the end section and mount their bike again. We encourage cyclists to pull their brakes before mounting, swinging their leg over the saddle, putting their pedal into the 2 o'clock position and off they go. You can use cones, chalk, tape and 10 pegs for this. The next obstacle we're going to do is the snake. The snake develops bike handling skills and helps the cyclist to be more observant and keep an eye on the track ahead. A snake can be made in all shapes and sizes, from S shapes to zigzag shapes. Be creative with the equipment you have. You can use cones, chalk, tape, 10 pegs, and even trees to wrap the tape around. The bottle pickup teaches balance, counterbalance, and control. It also helps cyclists to understand how the bike works, leans under different weight distribution, and tests of single-handed control. To set up this skill, you will need either 2 tables, 2 chairs or 2 stools, and a bottle. If you don't have a bottle, you can use a beanbag or anything that will be easy to pick up and not easily broken. When setting up the obstacle, start with placing a bottle on the first table, then have a 10-foot gap and a second table. Cyclists will cycle up, pick up the bottle with their right hand, cycle to the next table and then place it down again. Try this for both hands, first on the right hand side and then on the left hand side. progression of this skill is to change the height of the table so it gets lower and lower, down to the chair, then to a stool, even a box, and sometimes even as low as the ground. Cyclists should maintain a steady speed when picking up the bottle and keep their eyes on the target or object. How low can you go on 2 wheels? Hold a noodle, a brush, a limbo pole up high. Then the cyclist will cycle underneath the pole at one time. The limbo can be lowered slightly after everyone has ducked underneath it. You could have more than one limbo challenge with different heights dotted around the course. Starting off, ask cyclists to duck down low and they build up their confidence. Ask them to shift their weight off the saddle and nearly touch their bum off the back wheel. Encourage them to do this quickly so they are not hanging off the back of the bike. Once you've completed the obstacle course a few times, be creative and add in some variations. For example, you can cycle it in reverse. Staggered starts can be a good way to keep the cyclist moving. Remember to add in some progressions of the obstacles to make it more challenging, depending on the ability of your cyclists. Now go out and have fun on your obstacle course.
My favorite part of the obstacle course is probably the beanbag part because you have to try to take your hand off and put it to the other table. And when I was younger, I had this bike and I just loved to do all sorts of tricks with it, like taking my hands off, taking a leg off and trying to mess around with it. So I really liked it.
My favorite part of the obstacle course is the on and off part because you can hop, because I never knew how to hop off and on and off and I learned how to. It was very fun.
My favorite part of the obstacle course is the snake because you go around on it and it's hard not to go out of the lines and stuff like that.
My favorite part of the obstacle course is the limbo because I like going under it and you have to duck down on the bike, so it's really fun.